Hey, what's up, man? Hello. Yeah, I'm just killing time until lunch myself. I'm gonna go to the health food store. Go to the health food store and get some snacks because I'm tired of the shit they sell at the place near me. I need some variety. A little too early to go right now, though. I'm not hungry yet. Got a certified Hood Classic playing right here. Anti-Spectre. Ooh, that combo. Nice.
Orochi 軍は主に呉と義の混成軍のはずだが、この城の守備隊は蜀の将が多いな。残念だったな。ここに劉備殿はおられぬ。次は負けない。
敵将討ち取った。
あ、褒めて使わせ。
Waiting to repair the ceiling? What the hell is wrong with your ceiling? I don't quite follow. Do you have like a roof over your head right now, or did it like fall off? Did your ceiling get male pattern baldness or something? Like, I don't quite follow what's happening.
嫌なもんだよな。俺たち孫悟も似たようなもんだよ。全力で参りますよ。欧州剣山。
Yeah, rain is pretty bad in Jersey. When I moved to California when I was young, when my parents got married, it's kind of a big contrast.
戦には頭も必要ですよ。コンセプトのよく来てくれた。ああ、それ れで貸し借りはなしだぜ。ここは逃げるが上策。敵将一つたり冴えているな。調子におい、こっから先は行かせねえぜ。長司殿、私は劉備殿を助けに来たんだ。反乱軍を通すわけにはいかねえんだよ。行かねえつもりなら俺が相手になるぜ。我らが争って何になる。事情があるなら私にも。うるせえ、おめえは知らなくていいんだよ。うまくいかないもんだな。退散だ。敵将討ち取ったり。あっぱれ、褒めて使わせ。間を置かず攻め立てよ。張飛殿、ごめん。俺はここで退路を確保してる。早く劉備殿を。我が勝機試す時。敵は劉備を人質に取られ仕方なく戦ってんだな。奴らの常套手段ってとこか。いらねえぜ。戦略です。敵将討ち取ったり。冴えているな。
So East 10 will happen if the 60 FPS patch works. I don't know how many people watched my stream last night, but it was pretty much a train wreck. Not because I was getting frustrated, because the 1.0 version of East 10 has terrible optimization, and even on a computer like an order of magnitude more powerful than a Switch, it was running really poorly. The patch doesn't work. The 60 FPS mod does not work on does not work on the hotfix, so they're working on it right now. So we'll switch to that if things work out. Controller's feeling really laggy. Might be because I have too much Bluetooth stuff next to me. It's definitely laggier than when I play remotely at my neighbor's house or when I'm offline. I've been playing this a lot while I've been offline. Got the whole series on here now.天守の伏兵に家計諸葛亮の検索だな。蜀の小同士で争わせたのもあいつなのか。次は負けない。敵将討ち取ったり。あっぱれ褒めて。あっぱれ。ひとまず撤退だ。Splendid。敵将討ち取ったり。鮮やかなお手並み。Actually, Sugoi is splendid. I don't remember what apade means. My brain is too fried right now. You don't hear that word too much. I know that word from watching Shinkenger. It's in the theme song. まずい。早く天守から脱出せねば。 This is like a certified hood classic song right here. This is like one of the best Musou songs in my opinion. They must play this in the gangs in Compton. Gangs in Compton, this is their theme song. I really like the remix they did of this track in Orochi 4. I felt like a lot of the remixes in that game were not great, but there were a couple good ones. I didn't like a lot of the remixes they did of the legacy songs, but the Anti-Spectre one is really good. The Trinity mix. Yeah, some of the remixes in that game were not the best. Tried to change the song too much, especially Optic Line, the character select song. I can't stand the version of that they have in 4. It's dreadful. Pretty much completely neutered that song as far as I'm concerned. It's really bad. You can't improve perfection. Sometimes they try anyway. Fun fact, Daji has had the same moveset since 2007. They have never changed her moveset. They gave her the moveset in the Orochi 1, and then they literally never changed anything about it. They feel fun in this game, but you go and you play 4, you jump forward like 13 years in time, and she's still got the same damn moveset. Yeah, all the Mystics never got new movesets. It's been the same for 13 years now. Never changed. Oh, they gave some of the characters in 4 got moveset revamps. They aren't all for the best though. Like Masamune is garbage because they didn't bother to actually give him they didn't bother to give him anything to compensate. They just like ruined his moveset. Really weird. Hello.
次に会った時が貴様の最後だ。我が力存分に味わうがいい。
その分我が先に欠かせません。敵の動きに焦りが見えます。
Controller's really laggy. I feel like I have to hammer the buttons. Must be because I'm playing on Bluetooth. I can't. I don't feel like changing it right now, though. Let's put up with it.
次に会った時が貴様の最後だ。
I mostly be playing this on kitty sitting streams because it's like the perfect game to play when I'm over there. It's relatively bite-sized, so I can stop at any time, and it runs perfect. The only problem is it doesn't go full screen when I'm in desktop mode, but good luck finding a way to fix that. This old-ass game. No one's gonna know how to fix that. In fact, like that video I put up of Musou games on the Steam Deck did like insanely well. Something I wasn't really expecting to do well. Just because I actually played all those games extensively. It wasn't like a lot of the other Steam Deck benchmarks where they play for like a couple minutes. I already had like endgame saves on all those games. Most of them anyway. The video did pretty well. No one else bothered to test.
我が力存分に味わうがいい。
敵の兵器の威力が凄まじく進軍できません。こう制圧して元を立ってください。
あがくがいい。我が力存分に味わうがいい。我が力存分に味わうがいい。
敵将討ち取ったり。これもやりますね。
敵の兵器が沈没しました。では進軍を再開します。
噴火砲は私のお気に入りなのに。
次に会った時が貴様の最後だ。
敵将討ち取ったり。
その武力我が先に欠かせない。
お見事でございます。
Okay, good. Got the ability. Now I can start styling again. I had to make sure that I get that because it says you gotta kill 8 officers in 6 minutes without using Musou. So for him that means no R1. I had to knock that out really quick.
準備不足の状態で
Hello, Abby.
従来の力を出せないでしょう。
How you
あ
doing?
とは盾を撃破して敵を一掃してください。
Sorry I didn't respond to your text. I was setting this up. I figured you'd be in here anyway, so... I'm doing better today. I'm not fighting with any technology at all today. I should feel quite a bit better by not doing that. The Steam Deck's still fucked up, but it'll get fixed later. I found somebody who can install a new SSD into this later, so after I pay my bills and everything, I might take that guy up on that offer.
貴様ごときオロチに挑むな。笑わせる。どうだ。そうしゅうのやり。さすは折れぬぞ。
しかし負けられぬ。
大切にしましょう。
なんなんだよこいつ。
その武力我が策に欠かせません。
邪魔よ。 将討ち取った。
冴えているな。
オロチに挑む資格がある。それだけだ。オロチ、ウズドが敗れることは許さぬぞ。
これはどうにもならぬ。敵将討ち取ったり。
その武力。
Yeah, Zhao Yun's C4 in this is really busted with range 10. If you have him on your party, he can pretty much clear crowds like instantly. It's very fun to use. But for combos, for style play, he kind of sucks until he has the jump cancel. The jump cancel really opens up this game a lot, because you can use it on tech and power types. But I don't have it yet. Gotta work on that next, maybe. I have to go look up the guide, because I don't remember how to get it. It's been like 15 years.
オロチが悪い。他の奴はみんな全部そんな感じの顔を見てるな。沢島。私と手合わせ願おう。私と手合わせ願おう。
この勢い大切にしましょう。この生き方は昔も今も変わりゃしねえさ。俺が男のために戦うのをかぶり。
止められぬ。敵将討ち取ったり。
褒めて使わせ。
止められぬ。敵将討ち取ったり。
その武力我が策に欠かせません。
私では止められぬ。敵将討ち取ったり。
あっぱれ褒めて使わせ。
あっぱれ。
敵将討ち取った。
お見事です。
いい戦だった。他にはない。まさに戦に妙利に尽きるってやつだ。オロチ、あんたのおかげだ。あばよ。
刑事さん、この調子をどうしてくれんのよ。
この勢い大切にしましょう。
見るからに怪しいものを砦内で発見しました。
そのものが実者でしょう。すぐに討ち取りなさい。
Yeah, I just got it too. Yeah, they have no regard for people with anxiety, do they? I have my phone on silent, so freaked me the fuck out too. Okay, there's like no officers left. Like, what does it want me to do? They're all in there. Oh, it's this guy right here. Alright, things should start progressing now, hopefully.
恐れずに進めるでしょう。
ありゃ、参ったな。現実も見破っちゃったの。
ラッキー。少々買いかぶっていたようです。策も尽きたようですし、我らに降伏して
それって挑発してるつもり？諸葛亮さん。まあ確かに策も尽きたし。からでねじ伏せてあげる。
我が力 存分に味わうがいい。
ジョンさ強いから自分で国を起こしたら。
ここには器がある。今日導く器は劉備殿を置いてない。
あなたはここで死ぬんだけどね。
この勢い大切にしましょう。
ユキさんに会ったことないでしょ。なんでそんな必死に戦うの。意味わかんない。
それが私の戦う理由。お前には分かるまい。
Anyone else find it interesting how they can't make another Orochi game? Like it's actually impossible to make another one of these because of how much they've screwed up their Musou, their mainline Musou franchises with all the clones. They cannot make another one. It is impossible for them to make one. The amount of effort it would require to make another one would be like 3 games, 3 or 4 games worth, because of how much they've screwed up things. They have so many clones in both Samurai Warriors and Dynasty Warriors now that it is impossible to make an Orochi 5. It's something that cannot, logistically is impossible. I feel like it would be a fun game because you would have like 2 massively different battle systems between the Samurai and the Orochi characters, but they can't do it. It's not something that can happen. Logistically impossible. I know a lot of people like to throw that word around, but no, they can't. It would essentially mean that they would have to make like 4 or 5 dozen more movesets. Yeah, there's not going to be a new Orochi game anytime soon. They really put themselves into a corner. It's their own damn fault. Their own damn fault. Why does Samurai Warriors 5 have so many clones? I don't understand the reasoning behind that game. Let's redo everything, but then not give the people actually making the game time and money to actually finish. So you have this massive roster of characters, and like more than half of them are cloned. And like a lot of the unique moves like don't even work. That's the thing. Like they don't even function properly. Just baffling. I don't understand what they were thinking. I feel like if dev time was a problem, they really should have, if dev time was a problem, they should have, like, pushed the game back. At least had less clones. A couple would be fine, but not half the cast. There's only 15 movesets in that game, and there's like 40 characters, so it's more like 60% of the cast is cloned, which is a much higher ratio than pretty much anything else. The only thing that comes close to that level of clone to unique moveset ratio is Dynasty Warriors 9. But then I think they got that to like maybe around 50%. I don't know the exact number, but they did add like, what, like 9 or 10 more movesets in the DLC, so that decloned about 10% of the roster. The Samurai Warriors 5 Season Pass was completely useless. It was just more missions on the same maps. It didn't actually add anything to the game. I don't know of anybody who bought the DLC for that. I don't think anybody bought the DLC for that game. It's a waste of money. It doesn't add anything. I will always defend the Dynasty Warriors 9 DLC because it at least added a lot of significant content to the game. It added endgame modes. It added new story modes. It added new characters. add a new moveset. Like, it's too expensive, yes, but it did add a lot to the game. It was a significant amount of content. They priced it very poorly, but it was worth buying. If you liked the game, you definitely got your money's worth. But I don't know what the hell happened with Samurai Warriors 5. It's just like a waste of money to buy. It doesn't add anything. Four is just, it's just boring. It's just, it wasn't the evolution that people wanted. That's pretty much what it was. It wasn't what people wanted, and yeah, that's kind of a problem, isn't it? People wanted new movesets and new characters, and they wanted new combat, and it was kind of just more of the same. And they added the Godspeed attacks, which, like, on one hand, it's a good thing, because a lot of the C1s on most old Musou games are, like, completely useless. They take too long to come out, they're not even unblockable. So they tried to fix that problem, but then all it really did was just homogenize crowd control, and it didn't work on officers, so it felt like wasted resources to give. I mean, they had characters in that game that had, like, entire hyper attack strings, but you couldn't use them on officers, so it was pointless. If you just mashed the triangle button, you could kill all the peons. It took no skill anymore of knowing what moves are good for what situation. It pretty much removed that whole thought process and depth to the combat in exchange for you just mash the button and you kill everything, but then it doesn't work on officers, so the part where he got those Godspeed combos didn't matter. It didn't do anything. It's pointless. I felt like they were kind of struggling at that point too, like how do we add more to this system? How do we add more to this system without making like 50 new movesets? Now it was like the best that they could come up with. Yeah, I hopped off that game pretty fast actually. I didn't play it for long.
さどうにも気が乗らねえが仕方ねえ。一気に駆け抜けるぜ。
孫将校行くわよ。
陣の刃を振るわん。この戦どうにも気が乗らねえが仕方ねえ。出陣だ。まずは目の前の天道山を奪取するぞ。本陣の守りはこのテーフにお任せを。頼んだぞテーフ。 お前の相手はこの反乱軍を倒せ。オロが一人解放されるとオロチともくれぐれもお忘れなき。
A lot of people are disappointed they didn't announce Dynasty Warriors 10 this year. It wasn't announced at TGS. I'm like, whatever. Take your time. I don't want to see this guy with the fucking pizza cutter again, alright? If it takes until I'm 50 years old for the game to come out, and he's got his tonfas back, I'm good, man. I haven't really been too bummed about the lack of Musou games to play. I've got a decent backlog. I've got enough games to play. I still like playing the old games. The ones that have aged well, anyway. For style play, this game is actually pretty cool. It actually has some stuff that you can't do in the newer games. I have a lot of fun playing it still. Probably this and, this and 3 I spent the most time playing. Like, 1, 2, and 3 I probably spent the most time playing. 4's gotta be at least 200 something hours, because I played the Switch version and the PS4 version. No, it's impossible to measure. Definitely put a couple hundred hours into all these games. That's what he said. Wasn't paying attention. No, it's not an emulator. It's the PC port. It's not an emulator. It's not emulated. There's a native PC port of Orochi Z that I didn't even know existed until, like, last week. It's not an emulator. Yeah, I'm playing on Steam Deck right now. I'm not on PC. I'm at home, but I'm not playing on PC. Yeah, I'd rather run the native port of this because it only takes like 5 watts of power to run it max settings. So for Steam Deck, that's really good because you can get like 4 something hours of gameplay from a full charge. So the newer Musou games, you're lucky to get like 3. 2.5 or 3 is genuinely the cap for Musou games, because they're pretty hard on the battery. So that's why I just play on. That's why I play on deck.
駆け抜けるぜ。
孫将校行くわよ。
陣の刃を振るわん。
Yeah, for style play, Bolt is pretty much required, because what it does is the Bolt procs before they get knocked away. So if you switch at the right time, they're still right in front of you, and you can continue the combo with another character. If you don't have Bolt, the tag combos in this game are very limited. You pretty much have to have Bolt for style play. But it's one of your sources of percentage damage anyway, so you want it in the first place. But for style play, it's pretty much required. Agility in this game too, but I mean, you put that on everybody anyway, but the thing about Orochi 1 and 2 is agility only procs on charge attacks that activate elements. So like with him, his C3 and C4 ending, not when he's doing the punches, but when he does the kick. That's the only part that activates elements. So you notice that like that comes out like 20% faster than the rest of the move. That's one of the things they changed in 3 is agility is a agility is a flat, like, innate attack speed bonus. It's not just on charge attacks. Which is why agility is like even more important in that game, because it's just a straight attack speed increase. And like certain combos won't work otherwise. The thing that makes Wind busted in this game is because they block a lot in this game. What Wind does is it makes it so if you start an attack near them, there's a very high chance that they will they'll start blocking. You force them to block, and if you're good, you see what I'm doing here? He keeps trying to block. Wind basically breaks the AI because they're programmed to try to block and try to punish. But because you're forcing them to block and your element proc kicks in, it starts a combo. That's how I'm able to do this with like barely any passive bonuses in solo. Because the AI keeps trying to block. And if you don't have Wind, you have to get behind them because there's no omnidirectional blocking in this game. And it applies to both the AI and the player. If you block like this and you hit him from the back, he will stagger. So that's how you have to play the game without Wind. The problem is, they didn't realize how slow the game is when you don't have Wind. So, that's part of the reason why I do this. They don't need, like, the most overpowered weapons. I just try to get them Wind. So that, getting through the story will be, like, a lot less slow. It's agonizingly slow without Wind in the first 2 games because of how the AI works. They try to block at pretty much any opportunity. But you can kind of just ignore that. You can just ignore it. It makes it so when they're forced to block, you hit them and the bolt kicks in and puts them in the crumple state so that you continue comboing. This is pretty much how all the playthroughs of this game I've done. I always do this. Just get the first couple characters wind, and then you can kind of just plow through the story. It only takes like, I don't know, 90 minutes or so. Get through it pretty quick. And it's not so agonizingly slow, because you have ways to manipulate their AI. Let's see, is he good now? Yeah, he's got flash. Yeah, this is the +5, so I should use this one.
この戦どうにも気が乗らねえが仕方ねえ出陣だ。まずは目の前の天道山を奪取するぞ。本陣の守りはこのテーフにお任せを。頼んだぞテーフ。
お前の相手はこの俺だ。反乱軍を倒せばフォロが一人解放されるというオロチの約束。
敵将討ち取ったぜ。
お見事ですな。
こいつはいい。敵の本陣が丸見えだぜ。よっしゃ反乱軍に逆落としをかけるぜ。さあ全力で来るがいい。
I would like to go to Japan before the arcades completely die out, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And I don't have anybody to go with, so... The arcades are dying for multiple reasons. It's not just stuff like COVID. The DRM has pretty much killed arcades. It's killed arcades across the world. Japan's decision to start putting DRM on their arcade games is one of the reasons why arcades are dead pretty much everywhere except Japan. But round one can afford the DRM. That's why a lot of barcades and stuff just have they just have like candy caps with an emulator in them. It's pretty much impossible to get like an actual new game in the arcade now. Yeah, arcade games now are pretty much service games. Pretty much service games like Extreme Versus, anything that's on Nessica or AllNet requires connecting to a server and paying a bill for it. And it's way too expensive for like most people. Round 1 is pretty much why we still have access to like those games, because they're like an actual Japanese company and they can foot the bill for it. But it's been happening for quite a while. After they stopped using Taito Type X 1 and 2 is when arcades pretty much became something that the average business can't do anymore. Like, Gundam requires connecting to a server. Pretty much all the fighting game ports are on Nessica. Nessica is basically... it's like Steam for arcades, but you have to pay for it, so a lot of people can't afford it. I don't know if a lot of people knew that. It's always like, I get tired when people say it's COVID. I'm like, yes, COVID had an effect, yes. Of course it did. It affected all businesses, not just video games. But this problem has been happening way before COVID was a thing. When they started using Nessica and Type X. Well, no, Type X you could get here. The BlazBlue games are on Taito Type X. So was Street Fighter 4, I think. It's when they got off Type X 2. That's when they started doing DRM. That's why there was a port. There was a bootleg port of BlazBlue before it came out. Before we got the official port. That's one of the reasons why they got off Type X, because Taito Type X is basically just, it's just a computer. It's just a decent computer that could run the games. That's all it was. So people figured out how to crack it really easily. So like there were ports of like Street Fighter and BlazBlue and some of the other games that were on that system, because you could just emulate the software and just run it on a computer. Yeah, arcade games now are basically just computers in really fancy cabinets. They're not actual like PCBs anymore. Which is funny because when I was on vacation back in May, I went to my old arcade and I played Time Crisis 5. I used to be a hardcore Time Crisis player. I could 1cc most of the games. Like I could 1cc like 2, 3, and 4, I think. I know I could definitely do 2 and 4. I don't remember if I could do 3. But Time Crisis 5 runs so much worse than 4. It's insane how much worse it runs. I got to the first boss and it was dropping frames so much. It was like just unplayable. It felt awful. That's the difference, because the first 4 games are on actual PCBs. 5 is just a computer and a big fancy $1,000 cabinet. Yeah, they're basically all just computers with DRM, and it pretty much is just like Steam or the Epic Game Store or Battle.net, but in an arcade. Which is interesting, because those games still get cracked. I know there's people that play like Gundam Extreme Versus on the down low or something. I don't really know how that works, though. Yeah, it's been like that for a while. That's part of the reason why they do the DRM, because this was a problem with the Neo Geo. The Neo Geo got decrypted really early on, so it got to the point where you could just download the ROM and not have to go to the arcade and just play for free. There were people who put the ROMs on the internet. I remember I had the ROM for KOF 2003 and SBC Chaos, like, the same week that our arcade got it. That's one of the reasons why they got off the Neo Geo, because piracy was just out of control. So now that they have DRM, they can get around the fact that the games are just running on a computer. They're not like actual boards anymore. There's no emulation to be done. You just have to trick your normal computer into thinking it's the special computer. Well, it also didn't help that by the time that Neo Geo decryption and the ROM started happening was pretty much when the average computer in a household, just like a family computer, could run those games perfectly. So that made the piracy problem even worse, because the Neo Geo was already like about a decade old by the time that the ROM started circulating the internet. That was what really pushed Japan to start doing DRM. But yeah, that's why you don't see arcades as much anymore. It's a number of problems. It's not just COVID. COVID killed a lot of the arcades in Japan, yes, but it was already a multitude of issues. The fact that the popular games like Street Fighter and stuff are getting so old, it's hard to find parts to replace them. It's better to just get a Mr. FPGA and just emulate those games now, which is a good thing. It means that places like arcades and bowling alleys can still have like arcades now. The Steam Deck I have right now, you could put there's people that have put this in. They put this thing in arcade cabinets and just run emulators off it. Spend like a couple $100 on a cabinet and just dump a bunch of ROMs on here. I mean, it could pretty much emulate all the popular games perfectly. That's an option. But if you want to play new stuff, the only option if you're not in Japan is to go to Round 1. That's the only place that can afford to pay the license for the DRM. So, very limiting. I don't know what they're gonna do with the SF6, Street Fighter 6 arcade port. I don't think that's gonna be on DRM. I think that's gonna be its own thing. A lot of places would love to have something like that. Attract business and keep people in the store. But yeah, the arcades are a big part of why I have my taste in games. It was pretty much where I grew up. Pretty much where I grew up. That's why I like gameplay focused stuff. I'm not really big on narrative and plot and all that stuff. I just want good gameplay. So that's where I grew up. I grew up with beat 'em ups and fighting games and stuff like that, mostly. Just like pure awesome gameplay and like not really much of a focus on plot or narrative or anything. That's why I play a lot of games that are basically arcade games. Big part of my gaming culture.
我が槍で盗撮を撃つ。いつからオロチの腕になり下がった馬王騎の槍のサビにしてくれる。覚悟せよ。言い訳はしねえが、する気もねえぜ。敵将、撃ち取ったぜ。
Yeah, there definitely was a period of time in the late... It started around 98, 97, where you could just go download the ROM for Neo Geo games that literally just came out, and you could run them fine on your computer. There's a number of reasons why that happened. The first is that emulation scene started to really kick off around like 96, 97. It started to really pick up around 2000 because 2000 was when the CPS2 got decrypted. They decrypted the copy protection on the CPS2, so the ROMs started circulating the internet. A lot of the ROMs for the Capcom games have been on the internet for like over 20 years. I remember when that happened and I was very excited because I could practice at home and then go to the arcade. Yeah, home computers caught up to the arcade really quickly. You started to be able to emulate Neo Geo and CPS2 games on like just family computers. Not like heavy gaming PCs back then, but like just normal. You know, a computer that your mom uses for bills and stuff. Your dad plays like Space Invaders on it and shit, and you used it for your homework. You could just run it on those. And that was like a really big problem for the companies. No, I don't really think it had much impact. It was still a better experience to play it at home, at the arcade. The social aspect was a big part of it, but they definitely suffered the consequences of having really old hardware. The Neo Geo is pretty much the oldest, the longest running arcade hardware in history. The only thing that comes close is the CPS2. The Neo Geo was still like way more active. The difference between CPS2 and Neo Geo was that Capcom stopped making games for it past like 99. They moved over to the Naomi. Pretty much everything past 99 or 2000 was outsourced. They had Aiding making games for them. Takumi made Mars Matrix. Pretty much all those games weren't made in-house. SNK kept making first-party games for the Neo Geo until like 2004. So there's a pretty big difference. But yeah, the Neo Geo was commercially relevant until for like 14 years. Like a really insane amount of time. Yeah, Neo Geo went almost 15 years, which is why piracy became a problem for it, because, like I said, just your normal computer in your family household, even when, like, literally no one is a gamer but the child, the son or the daughter or both, could run those games just fine. Became a big issue. Yeah, Neo Geo had new games coming out until like 2004, 2005. An insane amount of time for arcade hardware. The piracy didn't have anything to do with Capcom moving to Naomi. It was a number of factors. It was the CPS3 was a failure. It only has like 6 games. I think the main reason they got off the CPS2 was because of the Dreamcast. The Dreamcast and the Naomi were on the same hardware, so it became easier than ever to make arcade-perfect ports, so I really think that was one of the reasons they moved off the CPS2, because the CPS3 came out in '96, and it only had like 6 games. They were expecting Street Fighter 3 to do a lot better than it did, but it was pretty much a failure. I remember when it came out, no one was playing it. They made a lot of bad decisions with Street Fighter 3. The roster got cut in almost half. They only had 2 legacy characters. And it took too long to come out, so a lot of the interest really waned. I think they were expecting the CPS3 to go a lot longer, but it only has 6 games. So they started making stuff for the CPS2 again. An emulation of CPS2 games didn't come out until they had already moved on to the Naomi. I remember at the point that CPS2 games got decrypted was pretty much when Marvel 2 came out, so 2000. That was when they started doing Naomi games. Naomi was really awesome, just because for the first time we had like arcade-perfect ports at home. We always got really shitty ports of games growing up. It was the first time that the arcade hardware and the home hardware were actually identical, so games could appear arcade perfect at home for the first time. No, even the other 2 Street Fighter 3 games were not immensely successful either. First impressions are everything. Street Fighter 3 got a renaissance, a resurgence after YouTube and stuff. People started putting up videos of it and everything. More people started playing it, but it was not immensely popular. That's revisionist history. I lived through it. I went to the arcades a lot when I was younger. That's pretty much a direct influence on the kinds of games I played. That's why I like beat-em-ups and other arcade-oriented games. I like fast-paced gameplay and heavy gameplay focus. It's all because of where I grew up. Yeah, that game was not that popular. It wasn't. Marvel 2, by comparison, which came out like barely even a year later, was way more popular. That was a wildly popular game. They did a lot of things right with that game that kind of contributed to its popularity. The first was the time-release characters. They had the most characters out of any fighting game at the time. They had 56 characters, and it was like a community effort to unlock them, because it was dependent on how many credits you put in the machine. You got experience every time you put a credit in. So I remember it took like a couple months to unlock everybody. It really helped with the player retention, and then also the fact that competitively, it was the first fighting game that we had that you could actually practice at home. I mean, prior to that, you didn't really have a lot of arcade-perfect options. The closest you could get was the first 3 Tekken games, because the hardware that they used for the first 3 Tekken games was just PS1 hardware. It's like, you could practice that game at home, but it was pretty much just that in Marvel 2, so that actually helped a lot as well. Because it's a lot easier to meet and play competitively at an arcade, where there's way more space and it's a public place than somebody's house. That was a really huge factor as well. A lot of people would practice at home and then they would go to the arcade and play for real. Street Fighter 3 in comparison was just kind of a flounder. It didn't do as well as they wanted. But that's what happens when you take like 6 years to put out Street Fighter 3, and then you make the decision to basically gut the entire main roster besides Ryu and Ken. Street Fighter 3 New Generation only had Ryu and Ken. And they only had 10 characters, and the other 8 were all brand new. And even when they got to Third Strike, most of the legacy roster from 2 was gone. So that really didn't help things. And then the fact that they only had 10 characters was a hard sell, because it felt like it had barely more content than World Warrior, which was 6 years old at that point. So there was a lot of disappointment for sure. It was kind of a mess. It didn't help that it required arcade owners to buy new hardware, and it literally only has 6 games on it. Actually, it really only has 3 games. It has Street Fighter 3, it has JoJo's, and Warzard. That's it. So, the value to money ratio was bad. Is the CPS2 was, you could interchange the games, right? So it was a better value. No, SF5 had way more legacy characters than 3 did. 3 pretty much managed to ignore the entire legacy. People grew up with those characters, right? And all of them are gone. The CPS3 is pretty funny because they literally went back to the old hardware because it was more popular and it had way more games. So an arcade owner was way more likely to buy a CPS2 game than a CPS3 because word got out that the CPS3 was not that great. Street Fighter 3 was very disappointing. It wasn't bringing in as much money and people didn't really want to play it. So they went back and they supported the CPS2 for like 4 more years. Capcom stopped doing CPS2 games after like 2000, but they had third-party developers still using it because it was like the easiest way to get their game out. The CPS2 got games until like 2003 or something, but Capcom had already moved on past that point. They moved on to the Naomi. So we got like CBS 1 and Marvel 2 and Power Stone. Those were all on Naomi. Well, CBS 2 did pretty good. CBS 1 is awful. I think that's like the slowest paced action fighting game. CBS 1. I hated playing that game. CBS 1 is just a disaster. It's the slowest fighting game that's like ever been released, in my opinion, because of the ratio system. CBS 2 was a lot better. The only problem with CBS 2 is that they didn't release the arcade. They didn't release the home port over here. We didn't get the Dreamcast port. CBS 2 on Dreamcast is Japan exclusive. I guess because they thought that the Dreamcast was dead by that point. CBS 2 was 2001, so the Dreamcast was not relevant for anything past that point, but fighting games. Sonic Adventure 2 came out around that time. It's like the main thing. Other than that, there wasn't much. So if you wanted to practice CBS 2 at home, you had to know how to get it. You had to import the game, which was an option for some. I had Guilty Gear X. I had an actual legal copy of that game because there was an import shop not that far from my house. See, Dreamcast didn't have any copy protection at all, so for the fighting game community, there was something called the 3-in-1. Which was made by a guy in the community named Toodles. What it was Marvel 2, CBS 2, and Third Strike on one burnt disc. It was compressed to the point that it could fit all those games on one CD. And that circulated a lot in the community, mostly because of CBS 2. Most people did buy a copy of Marvel 2, because it was easily accessible. Third Strike as well. But CBS 2 you couldn't get over here. You had to import it or burn a copy. So that was very popular way to practice at home was the burnt discs. It was called the 3-in-1. It's probably still on the internet. Don't quote me on that, but you can probably still get that on the internet today. Yeah, the 3-in-1 was the main like Capcom fighting games on a burnt disc. That you could just pass to people so that you could have like tournament setups and stuff, practice. Fighting game community has always been very resourceful. Having to do shit like that because the companies kind of screwed us over.
攻める劉備さんって初めて見るわ。お手並み拝見ね。
我が力存分に味わうがいい。
ちょっといたずらしてみようかなと。
なんだ拙い敵を目前にして保険か。
術にかかりやすい人ばっかり。皆さん 今のうちに始末しちゃって。やっやっ
せいぜいあがくがいい。
敵将やっ打ち取って。
お見事な戦ぶり。
やっやっ受けてみなさい。やっやっやっやっやっ
砦の中から何やら不気味な呪文が聞こえます。
術者はそこか。急ぎ砦を落とすのだ。敵のために。貴様はここで口当てろ。さあ来い。ひねり潰してくれるわ。せいぜいあがくがいい。敵のために。
敵将打ち取って。
素晴らしいですね。
休養期間は私のことよ。
兵法の初歩から教えてやる。見事な戦ぶり。
私に任せ。やっ受けてみなさい。やっ
やられた。
敵将打ち取って。
お見事な戦ぶり。
I should explain why CVS 1 is like the slowest fighting game, because I know a lot of people didn't play it. Once CVS 2 came out, CVS 1 died. It died to an extent that no other Capcom fighting game really did. You know, people still play SF4 and 3, right? They still play 2, 3, and 4, but like 5 is kind of dead, just because people didn't really like 5. That happened with CVS 1. So basically in CVS 1, they have a ratio system where you have 4 points and you build your team off that. So like, you can have 4 ratio 1 characters, or like 1 ratio 2 and 2 1s, with 2 ratio 2s, or 3 and a 1, or a ratio 4. The problem was, you had so much more health if you just picked 4 ratio 1s. So the meta became to just pick 4 characters. It also helped that some of the best characters, like Nakaruru, were ratio 1s. So it just got to the point where it was 4-on-4 matches, and it went even like longer than a KOF match. I remember waiting to play that game, and it was agonizing. The matches could go for like 10 minutes. It was pretty bad. So in CVS 2 they nerfed they nerfed the ratio system, so ratio 1s were like really weak. It was actually somewhat viable to pick like 2 ratio 2s, or even a ratio 4 was like somewhat competent. I'm not really playing it for content, John. I'm not really playing it for content. I just wanted to try the game out. I had the money. Nah, I'm not making content for the game. I don't buy every game I play to make content, because it's agonizing to do that. A lot of people in content creation make that mistake. I don't do that. Sometimes I just want to play something and not mauled over making videos. That's kind of where I'm at with that game. See if I even like it, and then maybe I'll make something if I want, but I don't like the whole mentality content creators have where everything you buy and play has to be for your channel. Like, no one's gonna watch videos of this. This is a 15-year-old game, but I don't really care because I'm having fun, and I don't have a new game to play right now, so that's my reasoning behind it. That's what makes content creators burn out a lot. It's feeling like everything you buy has to be for content. Like, no, it doesn't. play something for yourself, it'd be things would be more enjoyable. And I've definitely gotten a decent amount of success just playing random stuff, because I'm the only one that's playing it.
殺されてたまるか。
素晴らしいですね。
大徳のもとには行かせんよ。敵将討ち取ったり。お見事。策など不要ですかな。
Yeah, CBS1 matches were like closer to 10 minutes. It was an insanely, agonizingly paced game. I imagine arcade owners were pretty upset as well, because like Marvel 2 was the same year, right? And those matches went like way faster, so they were making more money. So yeah, they kind of didn't really, they didn't put those things into consideration. The longer a match is in a fighting game, because fighting games are like the most profitable games that you could have, outside of stuff like Metal Slug where people credit feed. But like every 2 to 3 minutes somebody's putting money in the game, right? When it becomes every 10 minutes that somebody's putting money into the game, that's a lot of money lost. It's like, in that amount of time you could get 3 times the amount of money. So I imagine arcade owners weren't very happy. And Capcom put out a game that was popular, but making a fraction of the money of stuff like Tekken Tag. Tekken Tag, Marvel 2, were out around the same time.
やった時が貴様の最後だ。
敵将討ち取って
鮮やかなお手並み。素晴らしいですね。
してやられた。我が力存分に味わうがいい。お見事な戦ぶり。
That's the thing though, is KOF matches still went faster than CBS1. This was an entire different character. Entire extra character being added. And they didn't really balance the ratio system at a point where, you never did want to take 4 characters. That was the problem. But the game only had a lifespan of 1 year. CBS2 completely killed competitive play for CBS1. No one played it. My arcade got rid of that game really fast. It was gone. It was gone with the quickness. They got rid of it real fast. CBS2 was pretty much just better in every way, and the arcade owners were making money.
Anata 相変わらず陰険だね。坊や。
減らず口も今日までだ。お前の名声、今ここに立つ。
仕方ないわ。私が直々に抹殺してあげる。
見つけたぞダッキー。剣の刃に打たれるがよい。
割と強いのね、劉備さん。見直しちゃった。
陣のために。
将討ち取ったり。
おかしな人が来たおかげで予定が狂っちゃったわ。
CVS2 had a very long life, yes. CVS1 is just funny because it had a year lifespan. Even the most niche fighting games like Battle for the Grid had a longer lifespan than that. CVS2 was relevant for barely a year. You could also say that about the only other fighting game I can think of that's that bad in terms of having a super short lifespan would be Vanilla Marvel 3, because that was like 10 months. The Vanilla Marvel 3 didn't even last a year because they put out Ultimate. I mean, there are a lot of people that didn't even play, they didn't even play Vanilla Marvel 3. Like, they got into fighting games after Ultimate came out. They didn't even play the original. Yeah, CVS1 and Vanilla Marvel 3 are like the shortest lifespan fighting games by a pretty large margin. They're both like barely a year. It was pretty frustrating at the time that they put that out, like 10 months later. Because it was supposed to be like a big deal that there was another Marvel game. Like, nope, you gotta go buy it again. You gotta go buy the same game again. It hasn't even been a year. It's like about as bad as sports games. Alright, we're gonna go back to PC for a little bit, I think. Well, you gotta think of it this way. 4 versus 4 is like a lot of rounds, right? And each round can go 99 seconds. So it's like, what, like 7 or 8 rounds? So yeah, a match could go for about 10 minutes. 7 to 10 minutes. That's an insane amount of time for the arcade machine to be making no money. Like, no money at all. And like Tekken Tag was like right next to that game at my arcade. that game was making so much more money in like the course of one CVS1 match. They could do like at least 2 or 3 Tekken Tag matches. So you can probably guess which one made more money. It's just a factor of the time. The amount of time it takes for the game to get to a state where somebody's putting more money into it is an order of magnitude longer than any other fighting game that was available on the market at the time. Yeah, they tried to balance the ratio of 4s, but they just couldn't compete with 4 ratio 1s. It was just so much more health that they had. It just wasn't viable at all. There was no way to make that viable. They tried, but yeah. It's interesting to talk about fighting game history because I've been in the community for a while. I know that I don't really play a lot of fighting games on here. That's mostly just because there hasn't really been that many fighting games I've really enjoyed. I did Battle for the Grid for like a year. I was playing ranked on that for a while, but then the content update stopped and I kind of stopped playing. But yeah, that's like the last fighting game I really got into was Battle for the Grid. I really liked the gameplay of that. It helped that it was a Power Rangers game as well, yes, but that wasn't like the only thing. I haven't really been able to get into any other fighting games to that level. I'm hoping the next batch of fighting games will be like more aligned with my interests, and I start showing a little bit more of my roots, because I definitely am very ingrained in the arcade. That's why I play a lot of beat 'em ups and stuff. I like roguelikes as well, because they're basically just arcade games. you know, they're over in like an hour or less. I like games like that, and it might not be as popular now, but it's definitely a big influence on my taste in video games. I would like to do fighting games more, but I don't know. I just haven't really been able to get into any of the new ones that have been out. I haven't liked them that much. That's what happens, I guess. Can't be. It can't. Sometimes your favorite genre or the genre that you like the most doesn't. You don't vibe with it as much anymore because the new games coming out you just don't like. That's kind of where I'm at with Musou. I don't know, Pirate Warriors 4 is okay. Samurai Warriors 5 sucks. Fire Emblem Three Hopes was pretty good, but also had like no content, so it got kind of old to play after a while. But yeah, I haven't really wanted to play any like modern Musou games that much lately. That's why I kind of been playing other stuff. Let's see here. I'm actually starting to get pretty hungry. I'm thinking I might actually hop off, take a shower, and go get something to eat. Yeah, my stomach's starting to growl. I think I should listen to my stomach and get something to eat. Yeah, my stomach's telling me I should get something to eat. Thanks for watching, folks. East 10. I will play if the 60 FPS mod comes out. If not, I want to make some progress in Wolong today, so I'll probably do that when I come back. And then there'll be more Orochi Z at my caregiving job. That's the content pipeline for today. But yeah, my stomach actually just started like really growling. I think I should eat something. I didn't realize it's 12:30. It's like almost 1 o'clock. But by the time I get over there and start eating, it's going to be like an hour from now. So I think I should hop off. I'll see you guys later tonight for sure. We'll make some more Orochi Z progress because I would like to remake those videos, kind of like what I did for Orochi 3. I'd like to remake a lot of those old videos in not 2007 quality. So we're going to work on that for a while. There's like not really any games I'm interested in buying this month. Gaming-wise, it's pretty barren for me. There's like one indie game I want to check out, but it's not out for like 2 weeks. And I'm also spending a decent amount of money on PGR this month. I'm probably dropping another 50 on PGR. So, probably just play like old stuff, backlog stuff this month. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.